There's something you've never said out loud, but you've felt it for a long time. You feel too much. You think too deeply. You walk through life with a quiet weight in your chest that no one seems to notice. Everyone else seems fine, laughing, performing, busy with things that feel empty to you. But you feel like you're watching the world through a cracked lens, like something is off and no one wants to admit it. And here's the secret no one talks about. The people who see the world the clearest often carry the most pain. Have you ever wondered why the most insightful people you've met are also the ones who've suffered the most? Why the deepest thinkers are often the most misunderstood? Why those who seem broken somehow understand things others can't even see? It's not coincidence, it's pattern. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher often remembered for his darkness, believed that suffering wasn't something to avoid, but something to transform. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Nietzsche didn't romanticize pain. He understood it as fuel, as something that burns away illusion and exposes truth. Pain sharpens perception. When you've been hurt, you see things differently. You notice subtle shifts in tone. You pick up on what's not being said. You read between the lines. You sense what others miss because survival made you pay attention. Because suffering taught you to listen. Bonhoeffer, imprisoned and eventually killed for resisting Hitler's regime, also understood this. In his darkest moments, he wrote that stupidity, not evil, is humanity's greatest threat. Why? Because evil at least knows what it's doing. Stupidity obeys blindly. And those who've been broken? They stop obeying. They stop trusting every smiling face, every easy answer. They start to ask, who does this serve? What am I not being told? This isn't pessimism, it's clarity. It's what happens when illusion dies. But here's the part that no one wants to hear. Most people can't handle truth. They don't want clarity. They want comfort. They don't want depth. They want distraction. So when someone who has suffered speaks, it often makes others uncomfortable. You become too intense, too sensitive, too serious. And so you learn to hide your depth, to laugh when something isn't funny, to nod when you want to scream, to make yourself small so others can feel big. But deep down, you know the truth. You're not broken. You're awake. Plato saw this centuries ago. In his allegory of the cave, prisoners are chained in darkness, watching shadows on the wall. That's all they've ever known. But one escapes. He sees reality, sunlight, truth. He returns to tell the others, and they hate him. Because the truth hurts. It burns. It shatters what we thought was safe, just like pain does. When you've been broken, you've seen the world without its mask. And once you've seen it, you can't go back. Let me tell you a story. There's a Japanese art form called kintsugi, the practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted. The piece becomes more beautiful, not less. Not despite the break, but because of it. This is what Nietzsche meant. This is what life can be if we let it. But most people don't. Most people numb the pain, bury the questions, stay in the cave. And so, the most broken people walk among us, quietly carrying a kind of truth the world doesn't reward. But here's the irony. In history, in literature, in revolutions, it's always the broken who change everything. It's the outcasts who start movements, the wounded who create art, the survivors who refuse to stay silent, the thinkers who refuse to be controlled. Machiavelli, often misunderstood as a cold manipulator, actually warned us. Those in power will always fear those who cannot be controlled. That includes the honest, the broken, the ones who see through the lie. So if you've ever felt like your suffering made you less than, ask yourself, who told you that? Who benefits from you staying small, silent, numb? Because someone like you, someone who's been to the bottom and crawled their way back up, someone who feels deeply, thinks endlessly, questions fearlessly. That person is dangerous. But being dangerous in a world of comfort is lonely. And maybe that's the hardest part. You're not just carrying your own pain. You're carrying the burden of knowing. Knowing that most of what people chase won't make them happy. That most of what society sells is hollow. that most of what we call normal is anything but. You're carrying truth, and truth is heavy. But listen closely. You're not alone. There are others like you, quiet observers, deep thinkers, sensitive souls, the ones who feel out of place in this loud, fast world. And while we may be scattered, we are everywhere, reading, watching, creating, healing, whispering, waiting for the world to slow down long enough to listen. So if you feel broken, if you feel like your suffering has left you different, don't rush to fix it. Sit with it. Because in the wreckage of what you've lost is the foundation of what you can build. And what you build, because of your pain, your honesty, your insight, will be real. Not perfect, but true. And that is the rarest thing of all. So here's what I'll leave you with. Your pain didn't ruin you. It revealed you. And maybe, just maybe, the ones who've been shattered the most are the only ones capable of seeing the world as it really is. If you want to see more, click the subscribe button and like.